Shrinivas Ayyar has more than 2 decades of experience in brand governance and Norcom with expertise in strategy and creative consulting. Created proprietary brand management tools, including brand metrics. A believer in lateral thinking, has led teams to win a clutch of advertising excellence awards. Has a passion for radio and has been an independent producer with All India Radio, Doordarshan and satellite TV channels. Has produced more than 2,000 hours of on-air content, enabled setting up media vehicles, conceptualized and launched mainstream magazines, FM radio stations and TV channels. Has worked on visual effects projects in Singapore and has directed ad films and corporate videos. Has started his career teaching French to international students and has been a French examiner for Usman University, Hyderabad. He has very rich healthcare marketing expertise and has worked with a slew of hospital brands including Wockhardt, Global Hospitals, Sagar Hospitals, Bangalore, American Oncology Institute, Hyderabad, and scores of other hospitals, diagnostic centers, chain of pharmacies, and clinics. Currently, he runs a brand governance company called RBC Worldwide, which delivered branding support to the recently launched Care Outpatient Centre here. Please welcome Mr. Shrinivas.
So, how many of you are from a marketing background? I'm so happy to see very few. I'm so happy to see a good, healthy mix of various disciplines, because I believe that branding is much more than marketing. All right, so today's presentation that we're going to talk about is not much of a presentation. It's much more of a dialogue. It's a conversation between you and I. And I thank Colonel Raj Gopal to give us an opportunity. For us, it's going to be a great amount of learning experience. Along with me are my colleagues Shekhar Koka and Subodh, who've been handling the Care Outpatient Centre. They've been handling that brand for almost about 3 months now, and they're part of that large launch that happened with Dr. Abdul Kalam. Thanks. So essentially today, the question is going to be conversations about branding, about what we think is branding and how is it going to impact healthcare and hospitals. We've handled close to about 25 different hospitals over the last 15 or 20 years, ranging from CDR hospitals, which was launched probably somewhere in the 80s, to today we're working with a number of hospitals and healthcare companies. And we have a whole lot of case studies to share with you. We also want to talk to you about what's happening in the branding scene across the world, and so I have put together a few video presentations of what's happening across. So there we are, we start. Sid Godin, those of you who can see, is a marketing guy who's been instrumental in terms of creating a dramatic change from what has been traditionally marketing. And in one of his books, he talks about flipping the funnel. Flipping the funnel essentially talks about the fact that we talk about a consumer purchase cycle. The purchase cycle comes from what we've been traditionally told as an IDA model. Anybody on what is an IDA model? Yeah, it starts with awareness. There is a certain amount of interest, and interest converts into desire, and so on and so forth. So essentially, there's an idea model. Now, in the last few years, what we've seen across is the funnel is completely flipped. It's completely changed. It's dramatically transformed, and that's the challenge for us in marketing. So I could have spent about 3 decades in healthcare marketing and branding, and somebody could be probably just 1.5 years in healthcare marketing and branding. Both of us have a similar problem. The world has changed so dramatically that the entire consumer sequence will have to be relearned. Yeah, this is just a sort of a little beginning that we did.
So before we go ahead to the next thing is I would want to ask you, let's also flip the funnel. And in a typical workshop like this, I would come and talk to you for 45 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours and then say questions. Correct? So let's flip the funnel, okay? And say questions. What is it that you want to ask, want to do, want to tell me, anything that you want to share? Let's do it right at the beginning. So it will give us a sense of perspective on what we ought to be talking under this big umbrella called branding. Questions? Please feel free. Please be more interactive. I've come as much to learn from you as to impart whatever little that we know. I've been given a lovely, massive whiteboard, so I'd love to write some stuff.
What is advertising and what is branding?
What is advertising and branding? Great question. While we do most of these questions, I think we will try to answer together. We'll try to answer together so that we get a sense of perspective on that. Yeah. Wonderful question. Anything else?
We think that medical practice is not a business.
Correct.
So why we need so much branding?
Oh, why? Wonderful. Excellent question. Why branding when medical is not a business? Excellent question. Thank you. Anything more? You could ask anything.
Just I want to add with what we had told, because the vision and mission, what we are talking about is particularly clear. Itself it says that it's a brand, that mission and vision, what we are inherited in a care. So does it require any branding? It is a brand itself, that mission.
Okay, so the vision plus mission says that care is a brand. So if care is already a brand, why do they need a branding? Simple. Good question. Something more? Anything?
Connectivity with co-patient and branding.
What has patients got to do with branding? Wonderful, very good question. Patients, branding, what is the connect? Very nice, lovely questions. I haven't come across many of these ever before. Anything else?
Branding can be used only business or any elsewhere can use.
Can I use it? Where can I use? Uses. Business.
Concept behind branding. Concept behind branding, the brand or the product or what.
Okay, how did branding come in the first place? Correct? What's the concept? Good question.
Marketing and branding.
Great. So there you are. Somebody said advertising and branding and marketing. In fact, this is one of my very favorite questions whenever I go for interviews. When I'm conducting interviews, I ask people, lots of MBAs who come, I ask them a simple question: what's the difference between sales and marketing? They're completely stumped. And they keep talking, they keep interchanging sales and marketing very frequently. And we see this happening in the marketplace also. Because the market also uses it very, very loosely. They call him a sales executive, they also call him a marketing executive, marketing manager, sales manager. So there's always this good question. Yeah. Anything else? Fast.
Current practice and branding.
Which one?
Current practice and branding.
Current practices, are you talking?
Current practice.
The referral,
Yes.
the referral fee, okay. The cut practice, yes. Very important again. Referral fee plus branding. Very, very important. Specialization in treatment. Okay, so you're talking about super specialization. Yeah, okay. Okay, specialization. We're also talking about, specialization. Fair enough. Yeah.
So while we are talking about branding,
Right.
we are talking about the organization as a whole, or its quality, or the services, or the doctors we are offering. What is it exactly about? What is branding about?
Okay, wonderful. Again, what is branding? Maybe as part of it, what is branding?
Why require branding?
And why branding? Very important. Here, that's already come. Why branding?
So branding is only for services or service providers?
Okay, so who is it? Is it for services or service providers? Okay, great. So what will, yes?
Branding versus medical ethics and the challenges.
Correct. So somebody else also raised this issue about maybe patients branding, and it's not a business, and ethics, medical ethics. Great. That's lots of questions, yeah? It's much more questions than I could have got had I done this 2-hour session and then asked you for answers. All right. Any idea of what is a brand? First one. Correct. What's a brand in itself? What is a brand? Yes, logo. Okay. Great. Okay. The name of the brand, the name itself.
Name itself is
Okay, so Care with that little the icon. What's the icon? The helping hand. The helping hand. That's a brand. Okay. Anything else? Any more answers? The color purple. The mauve color. Great. So that's a brand. The color is a brand.
Even the services that is provided is a brand.
The service provided is a brand. Okay. The founder is how is he connected to the brand?
The name of the individual is a brand.
Okay.
Because still today we are talking about property
Somaraj. Correct. I get the idea very clearly. Yes. So the person, the founder, sure.
behind the brand is the brand ambassador.
Right.
Ambassador is Dr. Somaraj.
The brand ambassador is Dr. Somaraj. Somaraj. Okay, great. Wonderful answers. Any more? Anything else? I'm saying that this is not a brand.
Quality. The value. Quality.
The value or the quality? Good answers. The value, the quality. What is the value? What's the value?
When he goes there, he gets value for his money.
Value for money is one aspect. Is that what you meant by value? He's talking about value for money. Is that what you? Who's the value you did?
Outcome, the service he gets is
The outcome. Wonderful word. Outcome is
Feedback.
the feedback. Excellent.
Satisfaction.
Yeah, the delight, the satisfaction that one derives out of experiencing the brand. Great. Wonderful answers. So what is a brand in this case? So what we say in sheer parlance is that a brand is the sum total of the experiences that we deliver. And a brand is created by a strong value that you believe that the organization stands for. It stands for something. A brand always has to stand for something. So if Care is all about that helping hand, is about that person who's falling down a cliff, but I'm holding on to him and I'm ensuring that I'm bringing up. It's a value that we stand for. It's a value, right? Now, from that value of pulling that man out of the cliff, I create a visual mnemonic, an emblem, which is what has been created in the case of Care, and I'm saying that I'm very exclusive, so I use the color mauve. So what is happening? I'm actually translating a certain value that I stand for something back into graphics so that people can understand it. When I say Hanuman, I mean he's extremely strong, he'll lift a mountain, he's godly. So typically I'll find Hanuman in front of a gymnasium. I won't find him in front of a barber shop. Because he represents certain values. I'll find a Saraswati maybe in front of education. Because she represents a certain value. See, our religious system understood branding very well. They knew I need to translate a value, I need to give it a physical shape. Correct? So the logo by itself is not the brand. Because the logo by itself does not communicate anything specific. But the moment it's got a certain meaning, then it becomes a brand. Correct? So, what is this?
Nike.
See? So we're talking a certain graphic language. And what is Nike? What is Nike? It means to a lot of us, it means do the impossible. Go that extra mile, do that impossible. I don't translate it as just shoes. I translate it as somebody who can actually strive for perfection. So when I am buying a Nike shoes and wearing it for the first time, I imagine I'm going to be a marathon runner. I may not even walk 5 minutes in the morning, but I'm visualizing myself to be that fantastic runner. So when I'm visualizing myself to be a fantastic runner, I don't pay 500 rupees for Nike. How much do I pay?
10,000.
I may be paying